Well, whoa, geez. Okay, well, this is a narrow little windy road up here in the mountains.
Where are we anyway?
We are in Napa, and what we are looking for is a castle. Somebody's built a castle up in these hills. 100 rooms, actually more than 100 rooms, in a medieval castle with 3 levels of dungeons and a torture chamber. Now, why would anybody in their right mind want to build a giant medieval 100-room castle with a torture chamber?
That's a good question.
Because they're screwing around.
Absolutely.
And they've got a lot of money to screw around with. And this part of the world, Napa, California, has been attracting very rich people who've come here to screw around for a long, long time. The number one thing they do here to screw around is make wine.
Some of the best in the world. Some
of the best in the world. But really, they're just sort of screwing around when you get right down to it. They've made all this money on software, or whatever the heck it is they've been doing. And now they've come up here to spend that money perfecting their wine. Or in this case, building their castle. So that's what we're in search of. The giant 100-room castle with the torture chamber.
The castle's official name is the Castello di Amorosa, and it's a reproduction of a 13th century Tuscan castle, an Italian castle. It was built by Dario Sattui. Now, his family was a winemaking family, and he had inherited the winemaking business, and they were doing quite well at that, but, well, he just had the idea to build a castle here in Napa Valley. Napa is certainly a beautiful place and world-renowned for its wines. In fact, the Sattui vineyards are here in Napa. But Dario wanted to expand that, and as part of that expansion, built himself a 13th century castle, which would include all of the winery for pressing the grapes and aging all of the wines in subterranean passageways under the castle. All of the stonework was hand-hewn to give it an authentic feel and look, and several different types of stone were used to simulate a castle that had been built over many centuries and battle damage that had been repaired. In fact, some of the battle damage was left unrepaired as though it's recent. Dario imported millions of dollars worth of antiques, including this wine press and other ancient winemaking equipment, and even some of the actual stonework was imported from Italy. Tunnels were bored 300 feet back into the hillside to provide a labyrinth of tunnels, not just to house the aging wines, but Dario's vast wine collection in his own wine cellar here. But mostly these tunnels serve as a place of storage for his own wines, which he is aging. Some of these wines that have been laid down here are, well, they're not priceless, but they're very, very valuable. It was Dario's intent right from the outset to open the castle to the public as a wine tasting area and wine purchasing area. They don't sell their wines in stores. You can buy it from their website, or you can buy it directly here at the Castillo. Dario ended up spending $40 million on the castle, and in fact spent every cent he had in the world, so he was really counting on it returning on the investment. Something which it most certainly has done, and in the process, Dario now has a beautiful 13th century Tuscan castle. Now, most medieval castles did have a church inside them, and the Castello is no exception. It has an actual sanctified functional Catholic church inside it, While we were there, I did volunteer my time to act as the abbot, just so I could be the abbot of Castello. Now the castle also has an armory, kind of a scary place when you get right down to it. These are actual weapons and armor that were imported from Italy. Really, really interesting, but something really imposing about the whole thing. And a torture chamber featuring real torture devices. On the right we have the hanging cage, and on the left the Iron Maiden. The hanging cage is quite simple. These days they would call that a stress position. You're simply stuck in there and you can't sleep and you can't lay down. The Iron Maiden was actually an execution device, just an execution device to really terrify people. And this is the rack. Now the rack is infamous as a torture device, but really it was used more as an execution device. A person would be stretched until they were near dead and then chopped into 4 pieces. This is a real torture device. This is the hot seat. It's an iron chair with spikes, and hot coals would be put inside it, and the victim could sit in this chair for days without dying. No matter. The real function of this castle was to make wine, and boy, do they make some great wine. Well, there you have it. That is an amazing castle.
That is. I was totally impressed.
And he's impressive.
Yes,
He's impressive. I mean, to go long on his dream, to say, I believe in myself, I'm going to invest in myself, and I'm going to invest in my vision. I don't care if it's massive screwing around.
He lost relationships over this.
And friends.
And friends. They all thought he was crazy.
Risked every cent he had in the world.
Right. That takes some knowledge. That takes courage.
He's finishing the castle, and as he's doing it, he's watching the last dollars in his account go out the door. And on the assumption that he's going to make it back.
Right.
And he's made it back. He's been successful. His vision has proven true.
Right. Right.
That's brilliant.
Take it to the edge.
That is truly the high art of screwing around. Well, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, you need to subscribe to the channel. It really isn't hard. You see this blue button that's popping in over here, and it says subscribe. Just click on it, and then you're subscribed, and you will be notified every time we post a new movie of massive screwing around like this. Well, we're not sure how you found this movie on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring.
Oh, no.
Because it wasn't boring.
No, this was not boring.
And we will see you here again next week with some more massive screwing around. We'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.